Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Influential Oregonian, where we have discussions on Oregon history and academics and interview important people who have made history within or in the name of the Beaver State. I'm your host, Marcus Saxford from the show Welcome to Oregon, joined by my boon companions, archaeologist and Marquis of Salem, David Winkler, and Finn J.D. John of Offbeat Oregon and Baron of Corvallis. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you, Marcus.
Great to be here.
This week, our guest is a man you might recognize. He's either sold you a house, or you've seen him plastered on every bus and park bench. Willamette Valley's most popular real estate agent, Ricky Cedillo. Hey, Ricky.
Good morning, fellas. Thank you for the introduction. That was, I loved it. So thanks for having me.
That's easily the best guest introduction we've ever had.
That was good.
Usually it's like, this is my friend. I met him at a park bench last week.
You're really lucky because I'm like, do I go a little bit funnier or a little bit more professional? No, I'll go professional because I was going to go plastered on every bus, park bench, and porta potty.
Oh, yeah. You'll see people there for sure.
For YouTube viewers, you're probably wondering why the weird camera layout had a little bit of a technical malfunction this morning with OBS. I was also making sure of something else. Oh, this is interesting.
Strong start.
Yeah, strong start. So what happened is OBS basically said, "Oh, you're trying to see do the window capture." No, from the actual Zoom app. So I'm trying to think what workaround could I do. So I'm actually, as you all at home can see, I'm actually doing doing it from the browser. So my video capture is doing it from the browser, and actually it kind of is interesting because now we've got this interesting camera switching. Although I guess I could change that, but we'll see how it goes. To where you can see whoever's speaking, except for myself, because I don't know why that's a thing. So real quick, before we get into the interview, merch came in.
Woohoo!
I don't know if you can really see it since my camera, my window is so small, but I am wearing my my shirt today and every day going forward. It's going to go from a nice clean white to a muddy brown very soon.
I love your shirt say, Marcus?
It has the network logo on the left side, my left anyway, and my name under it. And then I think
for the audio listeners,
we've
got the logo in large on the back.
The what I call the advanced logo, because it's got all four of the original shows on the back. So when it came and I pulled out, I'm like, oh my god, this is so pretty. Yeah. So and I even a couple of people like Finn, you mentioned, does that mean we can start selling them? And even my wife's aunt's like, I want to buy one, and I'm like, maybe I need to look into getting that print on demand store actually up and running. So I'm going to be working on that soon. So I don't know how similar the shirts are going to be at that point, because this is Vistaprint. And I looked at the logistics of actually using Vistaprint to kind of create more commercially. And it's, you'd need pre-orders up front. You have to put the money forth, and there's sizing issues and stuff. And it's honestly just easier for people to go click on the image they want and put it on the item they want and then have it shipped. So Melanie recommended Redbubble. She's very familiar with it. So I trust if that's the pre-on-demand she uses and is picking, then that's going to be the quality we're going with.
Yeah.
The new episode of Welcome to Oregon is finally out. It's cooler here. Actually, it's foggy today. I opened my door and it's all wet and foggy, and there's dry leaves on the ground. And I'm like, why does nature have to be such a tease? I want it to be fall.
It smells really good though. After that rain, it smells so good.
It's nice.
Oh my god, yeah, it does. I'm like, man, I want to go for a walk this morning. So it's the one that Bruce Haney wrote. So he messaged me after we talked about it. He was really nervous to kind of type it out in my voice. And, of course I edited it a little bit to make it easier for me to read it. But overall, he did a really good job. And I was, not to pat myself on the back, really proud of myself because this is the first time narrating pretty much someone else's complete works. So it was a challenge. It probably shows up. You can hear it in the show. But overall, yeah, we were really happy. And I told him, okay, so does this mean we're good to do more projects going forward? He said, I think it is. So he wrote up history of boring Oregon, of course.
Yeah.
Wouldn't expect anything less. And Finn, he did have me do the boxer story.
Yeah.
The Tommy Burns story.
This is his book. Everybody go get a copy. It's got good stuff in it.
And for those of listeners who are outside of our state, boring is the name of a town, not a descriptor of the state.
You always forget to clarify that.
It's also the name of a guy, not the descriptor of a city.
Yeah,
but it could be the descriptor of a guy. We don't know.
We know what it's not is the name of a viable company.
Right.
The boring company isn't going to do anything.
Check out Bruce Haney's books. He's got, I think, 4 or 5 of them, including Dirt Babies that we advertised for a few months ago. And he actually told me, I'm pretty sure I said this before, he actually told me that he got some book sales from that. So we did good. I'm happy we did good. And finally, Welcome to Oregon Live is officially up. This is the project I talked about 2 months ago that I just kept dragging my feet on because I'm like, well, we need a proper intro and we need to do this and we need to do that. And finally, I sat down, not last night, but the night before, and I'm like, just do it. But look at how this show has turned out. I mean, it's probably not a good example. This show's a disaster. But no, but we've evolved. We've evolved. We figured it out. We've gotten more comfortable, and I have no doubt that it's just really awkward to be on video by myself. Here, I've got you guys to bounce off of, and
you get used to that, though.
Yeah, you do. And just like narrating into the mic, you eventually get used to especially when you're first starting this kind of stuff. You have to get used to the sound of your own voice and all that good stuff. So, yeah, it was a little awkward, but. Welcome to Oregon Live is basically Welcome to Oregon, but not only put in YouTube form, but it's sort of a remastering of the original show, and it allows me to add commentary that I kind of tried to do as Patreon content, but I couldn't do it. I wasn't feeling the passion to do extra behind the scenes content for Patreon. So, and plus I always hate blocking things behind a paywall. I mean, it's education. It should be free, right? So, yeah, it's raw, it's unedited, and that's how I want to do. So, this a couple times in the middle of reading Oregon prehistory. And here's the glass for it, too. I'm like, I'm getting parched. Hold on, everybody. We're going to take a break while I drink some water. I'm also probably going to, like I do here and like I do with, I guess, no, this is the only one. I'm going to do audio episodes of that, even though technically it really makes no sense. I still like to make sure all of our content is as in many places as we can get to it. If you listen, like it, great. If you don't, you don't have to. So it's only an extra mouse click for me to put it on a podcast platform. So. And yeah, that is it on my end. I think that's one of the shortest updates I've ever done. Yeah. So, David, kick it to you.
I have actually been off for this last week, so I've been working on my Luther Cressman episode. And that's about it. I got his autobiography. So rather than kind of doing the usual archaeology podcast of just site and stuff, I wanted to talk a little bit about the people who worked the site because I think that adds a little bit of context. And especially my favorite part of talking to other archaeologists is not the stuff in the site is cool, but I really like the stories of, you found scorpions in your boot one time, or, somebody did or said something really funny in the unit that made everybody bust up. Like somebody just did a really good impression of the field supervisor. And so that's the kind of stuff that I'm trying to add. So it's taking a little longer, but I think this is going to be a better product in the end.
Good.
So when's it coming out?
I don't know.
I'm
Maybe never. It's just for me.
No pressure, David. I just don't want to miss it.
Yeah. No, I'll let everybody know when it's out. I'll do a social media blast. And my buddy Dre Mora is like the true archetype of Indiana Jones, Lara Croft. She's been all over the world. She did her field school in a Maya palace. And so I think if anybody's qualified to talk about this stuff, at least it's Dre.
She did not loot, unlike
no, she did not. She had a permit. The difference between archaeology and grave robbing is a permit. Well, it comes from the government, so do with that what you will.
Well, and like I said, if you guys don't have a podcast hosting platform and you want to use Captivate FM, which I use for this show and Welcome to Oregon, you're more than welcome to use it. That's the whole point of the network, is using the tools that we have. I pay for it.
Yeah, so we'll probably end up using Captivate. Yeah. So neither of us have made a podcast before. I've written scripts at least. So we'll need a lot of hand holding, at least in the beginning.
Yeah. It's not that hard in terms of like actually learning. Every new show is different. Like you could have made, like, how many podcasts have I made? And even brand new projects, everyone's different. You have to figure out, if you're going to use music, what your script, your framework's going to look like, where you're going to put your, how you're going to do your intro and outro, all this other stuff. So it all comes with the territory.
Mm-hmm.
It's also kind of fun to have early work to look back on after you've figured out, gotten your sea legs and got rocking.
Yeah. I've
got an episode from 2011 that I'll share with you guys sometime when I'm feeling really brave.
Well, I actually, real quick, went to the new Writers Guild thing that they've going on here in Dallas, and it was really, I only had time to do like half of it, but I started reading episode 2 of Welcome to Oregon, The Lafayette Witch. And it was, I didn't realize that people were giving feedback, because I'm like, how do you give feedback on something that's been released for over 2 years? So there was a couple things that one of them kind of critiqued, but otherwise said, and he's also done podcasting for like 8 years. He said that, no, actually overall, it's really, really great. So I was really happy to hear that. I was kind of expecting it because I haven't had anybody complain in 2 years. So hopefully that record continues.
Oh, yeah. And that person was disappeared quite promptly.
I remember that. The one that was like, don't invite people to come to Oregon. We got enough California as it is. I hate that line. It's so embarrassing.
Well, and as a Colorado transplant, it's,
What do you mean Oregon has enough people? The whole half of it's desert and there's hardly anybody in it. It's fine. That's just... And it's always just embarrassing when somebody goes to that whole xenophobic, no, locals only or whatever.
Yeah, because none of us are locals, because at least none of the three of us are Native
Southern
Americans,
Central Europe.
Excuse me, I am 1/16 Mohawk, so I should probably go back to New York.
Well, you can put one of your pinkies over in New York and send the rest of you back to Ireland.
I think that is one of the best lines of this show.
I'm stealing that for future use. I'm filing that away in my little line and for future use. We
are 30 minutes in and we have a guest here.
Oh yeah, we should probably get back on track.
We're only half that. Don't worry. It felt like a half hour because of technical difficulties.
Yeah.
All right, David, was that it?
That was all I had.
Oh, and before we leave off of you, don't forget D&D is closing in. Are you ready?
Yeah, that's next weekend. I am ready.
Not next weekend. Oh, which, by the way, everybody, I should probably preface, we're not doing a show next weekend. I'm going to be gone. I've talked about it before. I'm going to be gone to the coast, southern and central Oregon for like 5 days. Yeah. So there will be no show next week. But the 30th is when we're doing our thing. That's so right. I'm totally unprepared. Anyway.
Well, I would have showed up to Kenny's house on Saturday with all my stuff. Like, I'm ready. That would have been don't understand why you guys aren't ready. I'm ready.
The DM isn't even ready. All right, Finn, off to you.
Yeah, well, the main thing I've got to report is season 3 of the Penny Dreadful Story Hour is about to start. It's actually the Penny Dreadful Hour podcast. I think we were in our final form. I've added a Victorian ghost story to the Sunday episode. We're starting with one from J. Sheridan Le Fanu, who is if you're familiar with Carmilla, the sort of like vampire story, not that there was anything wrong with Varney, but, you know, he was very much last century. If you're thinking Count Dracula type of thing, that's post Le Fanu.
Carmilla inspired Dracula. Carmilla walked so Anne Rice could run.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and so that Edward Cullen could
crawl.
Yes. Anyway.
Shine.
So, it's not Carmilla though. Carmilla's a little bit late for our historical period. It's one called an unusual occurrence on Angier Avenue or something like that. But yeah, it's like a ghost story. It's weird. I could totally go off about Le Fanu because as I was researching him, I discovered that he was actually in Ireland he's Irish, and he was there during the potato famine. Wow. He's Protestant, so it didn't hit him as hard, but he was basically kicked out of the Tory party for making a fuss about how, you know, unresponsive they were being to all the people dying. So I'm thinking for an educational process of how to write a really good ghost story, living in a country with 1 million ghosts and another 1 million empty, crumbling ruins is probably a pretty good one. Mm-hmm. But I'm just really glad I didn't have to walk in his shoes. Yeah. So that got heavy real fast. Anyway, new season starting. We've got basically the spooky Sunday followed by a Terrible Tuesday, which is where we do all of the X-rated stuff, as close to X-rated as the Victorians got in polite society. And then on Thursdays, all the kind of like murder, death, and smoking meth kind of story.
Murder, death, and smoking meth. Yes, that's the title for my new book.
Not a memoir, hopefully.
No.
Anyway, that's it.
Your fun little not safe work etymology lesson was really great to have in my ears at work. I'm like, is Finn really saying these words? Not to make you go red or anything, but
yeah.
I love the Penny Dreadful Story Hour. Easily my favorite show of the network. Mm-hmm. It should be mine, but you know, I'm a very bad narcissist.
Well, it's being a lot of fun to produce. I'm just hoping I can get it down to where I can, where it takes a little bit less of a big dent of my schedule every week. Because once the classes start back up, I'm going to have a lot less time. But anyway,
right.
For now, we're spinning it up.
Which, yeah, one last thing before we get on to our formal interview. That is something Finn has brought up to me, is we might have to kind of slow down for a little bit and go every other week with our interviews, which sucks because they're piling up, but that's okay. It just means people like us, and there's always someone wanting to show their face on camera, which I'm happy for. Mm-hmm. So, is that all, Finn?
That is all. Although I have another thought about the schedule, but I'll never mind. Sorry.
No, you're good. No, you're good. Absolutely.
I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up later on. I don't want to make a suggestion that the group decides not to implement, and then it's out there in the world, and people are going, "Well, aren't you going to do this thing?"
That's half the information on this show. We still haven't gone to the Historical Society's vault yet. I've yet to make that appointment, but probably we'll see about next month. We'll see how that goes. Mm-hmm. And so,
all right.
I've learned in 7 years that perfection's overrated. All righty. Speaking of perfection, let's get on to our formal interview. Hi, Ricky. How have you been sitting there listening to this?
I'm learning a lot. I'm picking up on each of your guys' personalities, and I feel like you guys mesh really well.
Thank you. I was a little nervous at first when we got this conglomerate together, but now I live for it every weekend. I get really aggressive and very spiteful and vengeful when people say we can't do this.
Marcus, mean.
That reminds me, Finn, have you had that dead skunk that I I left it out in the July sun, but it's August. Exactly. Okay. Ricky, I'm going to start us off with a question I ask all of our guests, even though I already know the answer. A lot of people may not.
Sure.
So, are you a native Oregonian? And if not, where did your journey begin and how did it lead you here?
Yeah, so definitely a native Oregonian. I was born in Salem, raised in Independence, Monmouth. Haven't really moved around a whole lot. So I lived in Independence, Monmouth for like 28 years. I'm 34 now. So other than that, I had like a 6-month stint in Salem before we realized we could buy a house. And then we started that journey, moved back to Independence. And then then we got kind of priced out of Independence when COVID hit. We sold everything and then moved to to Albany. So Albany is where I've been since for the last maybe like 4 years now. So yeah, never left Oregon, just home.
Yeah, you and I are kindred spirits because we both went to the same high school. I probably remember you, but I don't remember much of high school at all, to be honest. So yeah, I kind of did the same thing where I grew up in the area up until, I think about like 32, I think. And then I had a short stint in Albany, and then we've been in Dallas for 3 years. And that's partly why you and I reconnected, was because we're at a point where we're wanting to buy a house ourselves. And our projected plan, of course, is to wait for taxes. So we have a good steady foundation. So yeah, it's really weird that we've kind of like coexisted in the same sphere, but never really talked. But I feel like that's kind of how I interact with quite a few people is, well, I've known you all this time, but we never really talked.
It sounds like a you and David story.
Yeah, technically, exactly. I've known Marcus since like 2014.
And at least for us, it's like a small town will do that to you. Like, you know people and you've seen them. You just sometimes never just really had that conversation. But I mean, small towns. That's my favorite thing about Independence, Monmouth, actually, is
that's something I've noticed about Dallas, that I don't feel the same sense of community as you do like in Monmouth Independence. Mm-hmm. I mean, even when the college is gone in Monmouth, you've still got people like running around the street, like enjoying downtown. It kind of helps because Monmouth is really focused in one area. So pretty much almost no matter where you live in Monmouth, you're within walking distance of downtown, a comfortable walking distance. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people do is a lot of people just walk everywhere. So yeah, no, it's
they
nice.
Have the trolley now, which makes it a lot nicer.
Oh, it's such a nice trolley. Yeah, it was great when they, yeah. How did you get started in real estate?
Great question. How much time do we have?
As much as you want.
Yeah. How much money are you willing to donate each month?
Yeah, right.
$100 for Marcus. The first episode's free.
We exploit our guests.
That's how they're set, right? The first one's always free.
Yep.
Um, no, so real estate, I mean, gosh, so basically everything I've ever done in my adult life has been stemmed from the idea of my wife. So I give my wife all the credit for pretty much everything. Um, so we got together. She was like, "Okay, hey, we need to buy a house," and I was like, "How the heck are we ever going to buy a house? That doesn't make any sense. I don't have $300,000. Where are you going to get that?" And then she did her research. She talked to people. She figured it out, and we bought a house. So I was like, okay, cool, great. Now we have a house. And she's like, all right, well, now that we have a house, we should maybe have kids. I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe that's a little bit too soon. And then she's like, no, it's not. And so, so we had our first kid in that same house. And during this time, I started working in corrections at the Oregon Department of Corrections at the state penitentiary,
Oh, wow.
and she's a nurse at the Salem Hospital.
Hmm.
And so COVID hit, we moved, and then she got pregnant and went on maternity leave with our second kid, and she started thinking about ways because um, we wouldn't see each other. We both worked 12-hour shifts opposite, so we never really got to see each other. And she started thinking about ways that we could be together more and still make money, right? So she started thinking and looking into investing and stuff like that. She looked at all kinds of stuff, wholesaling, note buying, Airbnb arbitrage. There's a whole bunch of ways you can invest in real estate. And so she was looking into that. I had no interest in any of it. I was like, I'm just going to go work with all of these prisoners for the rest of my life and just die there probably. Um, And so when then I came home on paternity leave, we really talked about it. That's when we ended up buying our second house in Albany with the intention of making it an Airbnb. And so then I started thinking, upon really having deep conversations with her, we talked about me and my exit strategy from corrections, which corrections is a great job. They pay you really well. You get all the overtime you could ask for, benefits, all the things. Like they really keep you there because you're not going to be able to find that job with no experience anywhere else. Like I didn't have any, I worked at a pizza joint and Jimmy's Independence Gas. So like
Yeah.
I didn't have any experience, and for me to make that type of money that I was hard to leave, right? Uh, but again, I was thinking, for my family, things like that. And she's like, well, maybe you should get into real estate. We were starting this investing journey. Why don't you get into real estate so we can use your commissions, that way, and then maybe you can help a family here and there. I was like, that sounds like a pretty good idea, but I can't leave my job. How are we gonna live? Like, how's that gonna work? And basically, she was able to make the money that we needed as a nurse so that I can transition into real estate. And not everybody has that opportunity to do that. So luckily I had that opportunity to where she was paying all the bills and doing stuff. And like for me, while I was getting my real estate license, I was doing DoorDash, Instacart, junk hauling. I got a truck and I was just chopping up hot tubs that people didn't want in their backyard and then putting it in my truck, taking it to the dump. Like I did all the odds and ends jobs that I could to help support while I was taking my real estate courses and stuff like that. And about a year goes by and I get my license. So it was really kind of spurred on by her, just saying, "Hey, we're going to start this investing journey," which we've invested plenty since then. And then, my commissions have really helped. But I decided during the time I was taking my courses that instead of just using my commissions for investing, I realized there's a huge opportunity to be able to help people who never thought they would own a home. I never thought I'd own a home. If it wasn't for my wife, I never thought I'd ever own a home. I was fine renting forever. And I didn't realize that there are so many more opportunities out there to be able to share that and help people get into their first house because you can do it. You just need the right direction. And so once I realized that during my courses, that's kind of when I made the switch from instead of just using it for investing to actually go full time and really start helping people with whatever real estate needs that they have. So, in a nutshell, that's a really big nutshell. That's how that worked out.
Nice.
Yeah, I've talked with you before about like, we're I love how we have such commonality because that's the same thing here is like I love my job, don't get me wrong, but I don't know how much longer I can do manual work because I grew up with our family art means business, which was extremely taxing, and in my 30s I can feel it. So like that's the goal is to just keep working, keep making more content, getting, the network to start making money enough to where I can start doing full time because then that means I'm sitting here with you guys a lot more often and, making more content and just, that snowball effect. So, but it's really cool to hear your story of how you got to that point yourself.
Yeah, yeah, and it's I mean actually getting the business and doing that as a whole different uh, topic because that's kind of like what you're doing. Like you're building your business. You guys are all collectively trying to make up this a full-time thing because that's like the goal, right? Is being able to not have a boss and not have to work for somebody, and then also not like damage your bodies, like if you're doing manual labor and stuff like that. So yeah, building a business is a whole other topic, but yeah, the way that I got started in real estate was really just doing what my wife tells me to do. That's what happened.
Well, and we were talking a little bit off camera before about like, it sounds like the big thing that keeps you going in this industry, it's like, it's not so much the job of real estate that you enjoy, it's those connections, it's that helping people up and into their first homes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Even if somebody is going to use another agent, that's not going to hurt my feelings. I come from a place of like abundance, even if I don't have any business at the time, right? Because
Mm,
the minute you start really being desperate for business is when you first of all you'll come off that way. That's I mean people can smell that a mile away. Second of all, you will start making terrible decisions on how you're
mm,
trying to get business, and so um, I've never been that way. I could care less, like I said, if somebody doesn't want to use me. But what I've done instead is created a huge network around me of resources of people in professions that I know nothing about,
mhm,
insurance, contracting, attorneys. I mean, you name it, I probably have a person. And if I don't, I mean, I will get them. But a lot of these people I have sat down, I have picked their brain, or I've used them in my own personal business or my own personal life. So from experience, if somebody's like, "Hey, I need a painter," I'm like, "Hey, I got you. I know a perfect painter." Or again, if somebody's going through an eviction or something like that, and they need an attorney, I have a real estate specific attorney. So like anything that you could need, I've built around me so that and that way, even like I said, even if somebody's going to use another agent, but they need a resource, I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm not going to hold this information. Like I'm here to just help and support everybody. And without expecting anything in return. And so that's I feel like that's been a huge once I kind of made that mindset, um, exactly what I just said, helping people without expecting anything in return. Once I really started hammering on that and building my connections, that's when my business changed for the better. Because things start out slow as a realtor. I thought once I got my license, it would be like, hey, my name's Ricky, I'm a realtor. And then I would just have people flocking to me, being like, hey, I want to buy a house. Not like that at all.
yeah.
Nope. Almost the exact opposite. You say you're a realtor, people are like, oh my gosh, I can't talk to him because he's going to want to try to sell me a house. So it's kind of like, dang it, it is not what I thought it was going to be. And so, instead of being like, hey, do you want to buy a house? Hey, do you want to buy a house? It's more like, hey, how can I help you in your business? How can I help you in your career? How can I help your family? Like once I started making that change, everything changed in my business. So
Yeah, I definitely get that. You definitely don't give off that desperate vibe because unfortunately it is the few that ruin it for the many, and there's just been too many realtors that have that desperation of I need to make a commission. Where and people kind of already psychologically have a inherent disposition against basically your door-to-door salesman type anyway. So
yeah.
like car salesmen, realtors, there's just this, section of people that people automatically have this distrust for, which I can only imagine is a really big uphill battle to fight on a daily basis is that immediate prejudice.
Oh man, let me tell you, yeah, it's like so starting out too, you kind of have to try everything. You have to try knocking on people's doors, cold calling people. You have to try kind of everything. And luckily I did work in a prison, so I've been told things to my face that nobody's going to tell me to my face, when I go to their door, or even if they do, it's not going to hurt my feelings because I just went through 8 years of hearing people who hate my guts tell me they hate my guts. And so when I go to a door and if they do hate my guts and they tell me, I'm like, okay, I'm used to that. Most agents are not coming from that background, so it can really tear you down quite a bit. Luckily, I've had the thick skin, and that's what I think has really helped me in my career. And so, but yeah, when people are already just like, oh my gosh, I hate you, don't ever call me again, you suck, bye, right? And it's like, okay, cool, on to the next one. But doing that, I didn't feel genuine. So I the way I get my business is how I think realtors or salespeople in general should get their business. I don't. I don't cold call anymore. I don't door knock anymore. I don't spend a dollar on advertising. I don't go out and just give off that commission breath. I do everything super genuine, and every every bit of business I've gotten have been from people who know me and have referred me to other people, and then those people are able to be like, oh, Ricky helped me and he was awesome, so I'm going to refer him. So it's just been kind of a growing tree of how that works because I really focus on making sure that you have a really good experience with the home buying or selling process. So that way you want to go and refer me to the next person. And that's how I've been mostly that and social media have been the two ways I've been able to get business.
So you talked a little bit about getting that kind of business network of relationships. How did that start for you?
That's actually a really good question. Um, So we have a bunch of business partners that we work with more often than others. So like I have lenders that I work with very often. And one of my lending partners and we were sitting down trying to figure out how are we going to get business together, right? And he brought up, he goes, oh, well, what area? And I was kind of new. I was probably like 6 to 8 months into the business. And he was like, well, how are you going to get business? And I was like, I don't know, social media, that's kind of how I've gotten the few that I have. And he goes, well, where are you farming? And
Mhm.
farming basically is just like what area are you focused on, whether it's mailers, door knocking, calling, whatever. I was like, I don't really farm anywhere. I don't have like a specific place. He's like, well, where did you grow up? And I was like, well, Independence Monmouth. He's like, do you know anybody in Independence Monmouth? I was like, and that's when a light bulb went off. I was like,
Mm.
I know everyone in Independence Monmouth. I was like, I don't know why I just didn't start there. And he's like, yeah, let's do this. Him and I came up with this really good plan to go to downtown Independence. We went to because I was also really I was getting really into social media and stuff and videos. And so I went downtown Independence, walked into every single door and talked with the actual owner of the business. And that's what I like about Independence Monmouth. They're not like, chain stores to where you're just going to get an employee and not the owner. And so I would go up to the owner and I was like, "Hey, I'm doing a 12 months of promotions, and what we're doing is we're going to interview the owner of that business, and then we're going to do a reel of your business. It's a minute 30 reel, makes your business like an advertising reel. Like, hey, come use this." I had my 12 months booked all like
Nice.
instantly, right? It was like the next 12 that I went into. They were like, that's brilliant because there's not a lot of advertising. And so that's how that kind of switched. It was talking with the lender, figuring out, oh, how do I talk to the people that I know and trust and people in my community without sounding salesy? What can I give them? I'm always thinking about what can I give? And that's what it was. Like there's no advertising in Independence Monmouth at all. It's really bad. There's maybe a couple businesses that do that. So I went in and I did a bunch of social media reels, spent countless hours for free, didn't charge anybody anything. And I saw a couple pieces of business out of it, which was great. But more than anything, I was able to see the monetary value I brought to them because we were actually in the process at one point of buying one of the businesses down there. And so we looked year over year what they were making, and the 1 month that we did their advertising, their sales shot through the roof.
Wow.
And yeah, I was like, holy cow, like, and because we were posting on all the big sites and stuff like that. So I guess the long story short to answer your question, David, is that's when it switched. It was 8 months into my career when I realized that I need to focus on my people and the people that I know, and become kind of like the hometown face is when that switched.
Yeah, again, such similarities because, growing up with the business, we've worked with the police department, we've worked with the city, we've worked with business owners, we worked with all kinds of people. Everybody knows who I am. And like when I got voted into the historical commission, it wasn't just, oh, okay, glad you're here to fill a position. No, it everybody was looking at me, like everyone in the city council, because everybody knew me and they had big smiles on their face. And so it's been an honor to represent that section of our city government.
That's
So yeah,
huge.
know exactly what you're saying, man. I like having somebody of the exact same background to talk to on this. It's really nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes me miss. I always tell my wife I miss Monmouth Independence so much.
That is just such a brilliant promotional idea. I love, like, talk about win-win.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, they really enjoyed it. I mean, and I still have those business owners. I wish I could have done it for the next 12 months, but when I tell you it takes a lot, and at that point,
Yeah.
it's getting a lot of business. I couldn't give them the same level of like effort and everything as the first 12 months, and so, but I mean, I still, if they came up to me like, "Hey, Ricky, I really need real," 100%, like I would turn them down for sure.
That's awesome.
Oh.
So going into your actual real estate career, what's the most expensive house you've sold?
So the most expensive house I've sold is not going to be anywhere near. So like there, so the average home in the valley is which is a broad range, right? Because that includes Portland, Eugene, and the valley, and then you have the outlying areas. Is probably around like 430,000, something like
Right.
that. Um, the most expensive house that I sold is 832,000. It was a triplex. The story is really cool. The amount's not very high. But that was to a military veteran, and he had a VA. And so it was an 832,000 triplex. And he was going to live in one. So he had zero down because he's VA. And we were able to get him about $25,000 in seller credits. This might be a little foreign. I'll try to break it down a little bit.
Yeah.
$25,000 in seller credits. Basically, what that meant is he lived and moved into one side. The other two were paying down his mortgage. I don't remember what his overall mortgage ended up being, but his portion of the mortgage was $2,100 a month after we got him those credits. And so basically, what he's doing is he's updating the one that he's in, and then he's actually already reached out to me to like buy another one, and then he's going to rent out the one that he's in. So basically, his whole mortgage for an $832,000 asset is being paid for. He doesn't like he might not be making a lot of money, and that's kind of typical here for Oregon, just in general. You're banking on the equity of a home as opposed to the cash flow of a home. So like cash flow, you could cash flow in Cleveland. That's where my wife and I invest, where you could get a triplex and be making 800 to $1,000 a month just on the rents that are there. In Oregon, it's not necessarily like that because the home prices are so high. That same triplex in Cleveland would have been $300,000 as opposed to $830,000. And so, but either way, he's going to put somebody in there. Everybody's going to be paying his mortgage, and his equity is just going to keep growing, and he doesn't have to pay for it. So he can always take out that equity down the road, and he's going to keep building. So if that 832,000 is the long story short that I've sold, that's the highest. But the story behind it was pretty cool.
Awesome. Any noteworthy houses that you've sold or bought for someone?
Noteworthy, yes. Actually, and one of them, okay, well, actually, time out. This one, I didn't help them buy it, but I saw it, and I feel like it's noteworthy to bring up because I showed this house to somebody. This house, I'm gonna find out where. So the house that I helped them buy or showed them was in Dallas actually, and it was made out of like trees. I know that sounds weird because every house is made out of trees. Every
Yeah.
house is made out of trees.
Right, right, right.
This had like full tree support systems in the house. And it was 3,000 square feet. Everything was super custom. And the wood in there was like actually like hand carved wooden floors, wooden doors, and their archways were everything was made super custom from a local builder back in the, I believe it was built in the 20s.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's over 100 years old.
Yeah, the house, and I'll send you guys a link after this so you can take a look at it. It was absolutely stunning.
See,
Um,
that's a historic home, Ricky. That's what I was talking about.
yeah,
Because you're like, I
yeah,
don't think I've sold any historic homes. I'm like, no, 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 not registered. I'm talking about old homes.
yeah. So actually, I'll say it on here. It was 15290 Strong Road in Dallas,
Wow.
3,000 square feet, and it was cool because they had the selling agent had a whole letter of the builder who actually built the home, and his name was Stephen B. Lance. And everything was super custom with that house, and it was cool because, like I said, they had like actual whole trees coming through that helped support that house. So, one of the most unique ones for sure.
Yeah, now I'm trying to look at it on Google Maps and I can't. I probably could, but it's not being cooperative at the moment.
There's a weird feedback too.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, right. I forgot. You put your phone up to the mic and it does that. It's weird.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were about to be abducted by aliens or if I was.
I was
Because
No,
I'm
hoping
no.
ready
for
for
my
it. I don't know if you are.
And a good lesson there. You could be doing this for years. I know better than to do that. I know what it does, and yet I'm like still getting excited. This house. I need to
No.
see. Um. So yeah, if it so 1920s, of course, that's not the one you've sold. What is the oldest home you think you've sold?
Um, so this was actually before I was a realtor. I actually bought the oldest home. It was here in Albany. So it's kind of two houses on one lot, but it was built in 1895.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Jeez.
so it had old knob and tube wiring. But the thing about it was kind of already updated, so we didn't really get any of that old charm with it. It was nothing special. It was just old, and it had a huge
Okay.
like walk-in basement that was super creepy. Definitely, had some it was honestly one of the weirdest things because it looked like there was like a flapper hole where like you could talk through it that was part of a room. So in
Oh
the
my God.
Wow.
yeah, I'll tell you, it was creepy.
Yeah.
But that's the old song. Again, I didn't actually sell it. I just bought it before I was an agent. But
Hmm.
uh, that is definitely the oldest one, 1895.
Yeah. I just had a vision of some 1890s dad using that flap to scare the crap out of one of his kids.
Oh, oh yeah, it was
Because
like
that's
cold.
exactly what my dad would have done to me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the bones are definitely old. It was all concrete down there. It was just ooh, it's yeah,
Yeah.
cold and wet and creepy.
Do you still own it?
Yeah, I do actually.
Right
I
on.
rent it out as a midterm rental, so I have like traveling nurses and professionals come.
Oh,
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
very
yeah.
cool. Yeah. So is it by the hospital then, down where all those old, beautiful houses are in that neighborhood?
No, not necessarily. It's actually in a really unfortunate area.
Oh,
It's by the train track, and the railroad company owns the lot next
Mm.
door. It's really
ah,
cool because it's on like a main road, but it is kind of central to. I mean, in Albany, you're central to Eugene hospitals, Portland hospitals, Corvallis hospitals, Salem hospital. So it's kind of like in a perfect middle area.
Yeah.
So, of course, a lot of people probably want to know, do you have any nightmare stories of of horrible sellers, horrible buyers, horrible homes that you're just like, do not touch this thing?
Oh man. Yeah, so I was helping somebody from Sweet Home, and she had, again, social media. I just reached out to her saying that I could help her. So she had just gotten a divorce and she moved to like Texas or something like that. And she said her ex-husband is still living in the house, not paying anything. But they're kind of amicable, and so they're able to talk and all of that. She's like, I really need to sell my house. He has a place to live, so just go over there and talk with him. So okay. So I go over there and I talk with him, and you could tell he doesn't like that I'm there and all that stuff, which we get that all the time with divorce situations. Um, Basically, what I can do, I say, I'm not on anybody's side. I'm just here to help you guys sell this house. He's like, well, I don't want to sell this house. I said, well, it's not really your decision. It's actually the wife is the only one that's um, on the deed.
Oof.
So yeah, so that makes it really hard. So he's like, okay, yeah, no, I understand. I was like, okay, so this, and this all need to be done before we sell the house. And he's like, all right, yep, I'll get it done. So okay, cool. Um, I came back again, making sure everything was done. Most of it was done. There's still some things I was like, hey, once you get this and this done, we'll put it on the market. He said, great. So every time I've been there, he's been super cool. I was like, all right, awesome. Um, and so we got the house under contract. Someone offered, we accepted the offer, and we were going through in the walkthrough so that the buyer can come and walk through the property. Well, this guy, I mean, I don't want to speculate, but I'm assuming there was some substances involved, and he came out with a gun, just saying that he was going to shoot. Like he's like, "Get off our property! You're not coming in here." He was half naked.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I was with the other agent actually, for this reason because I could tell he was a little bit. He could be unhinged, but I wasn't like 100%. So I was like, "I'll come with you to the walkthrough," thinking like I want to make sure she's safe, right? I didn't want just like a single gal going in there dude, this chick was a badass. She just goes, "Oh, put that thing away," and just starts talking to him. And I'm over here like, what in the world? So the agent just put that away. We're gonna come in and see the house. I'm like, holy cow! Like I was not expecting that from her. So one of the most badass chicks I've ever seen. She just comes in with a gun in her face, just saying like, "Oh, knock it off! You're not gonna do anything. Let us come in and see the house." And then he just kind of like puts his gun away, but he's still like, you guys still have to leave, right? So we didn't end up actually seeing it, and then actually we didn't even end up selling it. But it was kind of a nightmare because then we had to get like a police escort and stuff like that. It was rough. Eventually didn't end up selling it, but yeah, we had a gun pulled on us, and the other agent I was with was not phased. She was not phased at all. I was like, okay, cool, let's leave. And she was, oh, put it away. And she's just like, okay, well, that was a very interesting interaction.
Oh, I wonder what his ex-wife didn't see in him.
Solid dude, right? Solid dude.
Sometimes it's just like with a dog. If you shove your fist in their mouth, they don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Any other notable nightmare stories?
Or particularly good ones.
There's probably one or two that you can't tell us, but that's all good.
I mean, there's some. I mean, I've seen some pretty messed up homes that you could tell like the homeowner had tried to update it themselves, and it was just not.
Oh, that's always
It
fun.
was so bad, and I feel bad too because they were probably so proud of what they did. If it was your house and you made it the way you wanted to, great. But when you go to sell it, and we can tell that the flooring is separated from each other, and like it's just there's no trim, and like there there's been some pretty rough houses that I've seen, and actually some of them pretty lately, where I'm just like, man, that's no good.
I think a lot of people went to Home Depot during the COVID pandemic and were like, "I'm going to spend my my stimmy money on click together flooring and redo the." Yeah.
Yep.
I can see that.
It's like that episode of The Office where the clown portrait is built into the wall.
I haven't seen that episode, but that sounds pretty good.
Anything from The Office, I'll laugh because I know it's funny. The Office is just funny.
Well, there was like a time in history, and I swear to God, it was like the 60s and 70s, where, and my grandma and I had, my grandparents had managed Monmouth Mills Trailer Court next to the post office. And so I grew up with that aspect of my life. And there's two homes as part of the 15 lot park. And both of them have had like additions on the back where somebody just poured a cement pad and had like no thought to it. And like there's just these rooms, some of them are raised up. And it's like, yeah, there's this weird era of the 60s and or 70s when there were no such thing as building codes, where people are adding on obscurely these bits to the home. And you can totally tell. But at this point in life, I look at what some of those houses go, that's kind of somewhat charming because you can actually recognize, you can age the house. Oh, this house is definitely at least from the 60s or 70s.
You're exactly right. And yeah, when back then there was no permits. So that's what's kind of crazy about now is because like if I wanted to transform my garage into like a bedroom or something, you have to pull all the permits. It has to be done. It has to be which I mean is good because you have to make sure that it's like inspected and checked off. But in the 60s, dude, Uncle John just came over and put up some drywall. And it was like you could tell. You're like, okay, yeah, we know that he enclosed this back porch. Like it's slanted.
And he may or may not have done it sober.
He got paid in moonshine.
Yeah.
Grab a square and you'll find out pretty quick, probably.
Yeah.
Well, I know we've got to wrap up soon. So I do have, thankfully we pretty much got through most of our questions. Definitely wouldn't mind having you on again, maybe sometime next year. What advice would you give to new home buyers or just home buyers in general?
Yeah, I think this is very important. I think the best advice I can give you is even if you have just a glimmer of thought of like, I think I kind of want to buy a house or I want to look into that process, connect with a realtor. Me preferably biased. But connect with somebody that you know and trust, or maybe if you don't know realtors, interview some. Again, I am always available to help. Obviously, that's where I come from. I come from even if you're not ready now or a year from now. Because when you connect with a realtor, you don't have to do it alone. And we are free, a free resource, free information, free knowledge, all the way up until closing, which that's a whole other scenario, right? So a lot of people wonder how we get paid and stuff like that. Typically in this market, I'm able to negotiate that with the seller so that you don't have to pay my commissions whatsoever. But I mean, information is free. Coffee's free. I'll actually pay for your coffee, right? So you can go and get free coffee. Sit down because some people want to Google it and research it, and then what happens is that leads to them clicking on, oh, find out how much of a mortgage you can get paid for, and then they start going through the process with like Rocket Mortgage, who please don't go through Rocket Mortgage. Whatever you do, don't go through Rocket Mortgage.
I feel like anything that's operated through an app is a bad idea. In this environment, there's some finance bro upline pulling rents from it.
Yeah, and you just never know.
Carvana.
Yeah. That would be my main thing is like because from the minute you think about it until I hand you your keys, I am holding your hand throughout the whole way and giving you the resources, right? So like Marcus knows, like they're in the process of like the lending portion, right? Getting that squared away. But at first it's the conversation, then it's the lending portion. Like I walk you through that. And then once your lending portion is completed, you get your pre-approval. Now we're looking for houses. So like I do that, and I do that without you paying me a dime up front whatsoever. So it is in your best interest to just sit down and have that conversation. Because we're the ones that do it. This is what I do for a living. So I'm I'm going to be able to help guide you through that whole thing. And so the minute that's my biggest piece of advice. The minute you think about potentially wanting to buy, even if it's a year or two down the road, connect with me. Let's grab coffee, and I can kind of give you what that looks like, and then we can get you on a game plan for a year or two whenever you're ready. So
Yeah, and to kind of do a peek behind the veil kind of thing, I mentioned having you on next year, and I think the absolute perfect timing of it will be when we close on a house, because we found out, as it stands, we get 325, which is definitely not nothing. Like if this was 10 years ago, we'd be in a house now. Unfortunately, that's not the market we live in. So the plan is to kind of, just wait for taxes. Just wait till we can get an actual down payment, because as it is, we're going to go in with zero down, which isn't terrible. But, if we can give ourselves a better chance, then, why not? So, keep getting loans paid down. I mean, honestly, we're in a really good position. Everyone's credit is pretty decent. Mine's fantastic. Not to throw that out there. Honestly, working with Ricky has been great. I always, and I do this with everybody. I always feel like I'm a nervous chihuahua and I'm talking too much and asking too many questions and bugging people too much. And I know that's all in my head. But with Ricky, don't be nervous. He'll answer all of your questions. He's really great about it. We did have our sit down with the family on basically where we're at and where we need to go. And realistically for us, it's only 6 months, because taxes are going to start January. So we'll get our taxes done as quickly as possible. We'll hopefully take February to get everything figured out between you and Alicia from Guild Mortgage. Am I correct?
yeah.
Also another great resource. She's been great to work with. And then hopefully by March or April, we will be in a house, and I'll be in a air-conditioned studio.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that's a perfect example right there, right? So like they have some time. They are pre-approved, but I'm not going to push them to buy a $325,000 house when I know that if they just waited a little bit longer, they're going to get something that they actually want to be in. And that's a perfect opportunity to say, like, I'm not going to push you into something that just to make a commission. I don't care. Like,
no, actually, you dissuaded us from like, well, yeah, you've got 325, and yeah, there's a house in Monmouth right now on Broad Street that honestly I would love to have, because it is 325. It's going to definitely need work, and if we had like a $375,000 loan, then we would have $50,000 to play with in getting it taken care of and remodeled and move-in ready. But we're still not there. So yeah, you were even like, honestly, even if you got like to up to 345 or 375 or whatever, honestly, dude, just wait till you actually get tax money back and actually get something to throw into down payment, so you have the best chance you possibly can. So that was really cool to hear from you, and not, oh, well, 325, let's see what we can do for you.
Yeah. Again, because I want exactly like what you're doing now, and exactly what I know you've done in the past, which is tell people like, hey, he's not pushing me into one direction, and he has my best interest in mind. So, that's where the referrals come from, right? Is the people that I'm helping that genuinely feel that, I'm helping them. So, I appreciate that. I do have a side note, because I feel bad that this wasn't necessarily part of history. I came with a couple history facts about real estate.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Let's hear them.
Yeah. Okay. This one I learned when I was taking the real estate courses. I quickly Googled it to make sure I had the exact numbers, but I Mark Webb Real Estate, he had some really good information. So the Oregon Donation Land Act. Maybe you guys know this. I don't. Maybe I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, we do.
The Dawes Act.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
1850. Oregon offered 320 acres to a single man, or 640 acres to a married couple for free if they settled and farmed in Oregon.
Yeah.
So if you were coming into Oregon, you were offered 320 or 640 acres to just settle here and farm for free. I feel like that's super cool.
Yeah,
Um,
that was not land that the U.S. government owned. That was already being lived upon by indigenous people. And so that's a whole thing with the Dawes Act,
mhm,
is it was being given over to settlers if they could kind of show up.
mhm, yep. The next one I have is the Louisiana Purchase. You guys
Hmm.
probably
Oh
know
yeah.
about it too. So, the U.S. bought 828,000 square miles of land from France for 4 cents an acre. One of the largest land deals in history.
Bargain at half the price.
Yeah. And then one that is kind of I would say controversial in a way is that the first recorded use of the term master bedroom actually first appeared in 1926 in a Sears catalog,
That
and
makes sense.
it was used to describe the largest room in the house.
Like
Usually
a
with
craftsman.
Yeah, usually with a large bathroom. Um, and it was marketed as like a luxury feature.
Nice.
So some people have tried to connect it back to slavery, master bedroom. That's why in the industry, people are using primary, and I feel like I get that question a lot. Like, the use of the word primary or the use of the word master, when really master just came from Sears. Sears made it up in 1926 and was just like, we want to market this room as a master bedroom. So three little tidbits I got for you guys because, like I said, I know this whole thing wasn't necessarily history, so I had to bring some history into it.
Well, and this show isn't necessarily just we just happen. It's like the when Conan brings his buddies from the SNL cast onto his podcast. That's kind of like us here, where we bring all of our buddies and colleagues on to talk about like history and stuff. But it's like when we had Bruce on, we started going on to a horror tangent because I didn't know he was such a big horror fan, and we have all kinds of different people on here because it's less about history and more about the history of the person.
Mhm.
It's getting to talk to people about things kind of like how I write my stories. Like I like details that absolutely nobody knows about or even thinks
Mhm.
about. So like, yeah, having you on is great because nobody thinks to talk about real estate as an interesting subject.
Mhm.
So it, and obviously I've talked with you plenty before and I already knew that you were going to be a great candidate to bring on and talk to stuff about. Not to mention, like you, I want this to be a platform that helps people. We're in the process of trying to stop a deal going through with Rockaway, the city of Rockaway Beach, where for whatever reason they're trying to tear up the railway from Rockaway Beach to Wheeler, which will take away from the Oregon Scenic Railroad's route. And don't know why, but they apparently are gung ho on the rails to trails instead of rails with trails. And I've contacted even the Tillamook Port Authority, and they said they're going to forward it. I've contacted the city, who's responded with, well, we really appreciate for your feedback. This is the kind of feedback we need to know. It's a really complicated situation. And so I emailed back, and I still haven't gotten a reply. I'm like, well, what gave you guys the idea to do this to begin with? Like, why are you even doing it? If it's a complicated situation, this has got to be somebody's pet project. I swear to God. So, but no, it has been absolutely wonderful having you on, and I cannot wait to bring you on next year to talk about the process of buying a home using you as a resource as an agent and going through that together and hopefully making other people feel a lot better about the home buying process because I know it's scary, guys, but honestly, it's really not that bad. It's just getting information together and details and going step by step. And when you focus on the steps, you're not obsessing over the big picture. And
Guys,
especially
I'm stepping off mic for a second. I have to let my mother-in-law in the gate.
Oh, no problem. But yeah, the whole thing of, the disparity of can I buy a home? Can I not buy a home? Just focus on the steps because, like my family always taught me, the worst somebody can do is say no. So you're not losing anything. Well, I mean, you might take a little bit of a credit ding because, mortgage people have got to pull your credit, but ultimately you're gaining more than you're losing.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, and and they only pull your credit kind of usually, depending on your situation, usually only pull your credit like right before you're going to start looking for houses. So usually they'll do a soft pull. That way they don't have to affect your credit and they can see most of the things they need to know. And then right before you're actually like getting pre-approved, then they'll do a hard pull. So even in the beginning, it's still less of a risk.
That always fascinated me that that sorry to cut you off, David, just real quick. It always fascinated me that your credit went down when people had to use it. Like, I get it. At the same time, it does sound a little weird, but yeah, I get it.
No.
I was just going to say, I think you told us that the worst thing that could happen is an irate man from Sweet Home might produce a shotgun on you while standing in his underwear.
I mean,
we heard that straight from the source.
Yeah. There's some weird things. That was like,
I had my schedule stacked up pretty tight. So since we ran over a little bit of time, item B on my to-do list stacked up against item A. Are we done here?
Yeah. I think so. Like I said, Ricky, thank you so much for coming here and talking. And I think this was a really good episode. And like I said, I'm really excited to have you on next year when we have even more to talk about.
Right on.
Love it. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ricky.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. This episode was brought to you by the Oregon Voices Network, a historical podcast network that brings you amazing shows like Welcome to Oregon, a Oregon history and lore podcast, Offbeat Oregon, and the Penny Dreadful. God, I need to figure out the final name. The Penny Dreadful Variety Hour. Our website is now updated to reflect all of these wonderful shows. So if you want one source for all of our content, social links like our Facebook group, page, and Discord, occasional articles, a store supplied by local artists, and more, check out www.oregonvoices.net. Also, if you love our work, you should seriously consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/Oregon Voices Network. The money goes towards all of our projects and helps us pay for things like software, assets, and more. If you are listening to the audio version of the show, you can find more of our work on YouTube at youtube.com/Oregon Voices Network. Like I said, including our newest playlist that contains the first episode of Welcome to Oregon Live. Gentlemen, where can people find you and your works?
You can find me on most social media platforms at the Spirit of PDX.
And I'm Finn at pulplit.com or Finn at pennydread.com. Or on Facebook.
That's your cue, Ricky.
Oh, that's my turn. Yeah, no, at Real Estate Ricky, Ricky Cedillo, Cedillo, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the things. So, social media.
Awesome. Sounds good. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching from myself and the crew. Later.
Bye.
Cheers.